Well, it seems to me that universities exist for three purposes: to discover and transmit knowledge, to teach and help people learn, and to actually help make the world a better place. And so community engagement is really related to all three, because it's important, as we imagine what we're doing, to be reaching out to communities, to ask what communities actually need, and to hear from communities about their own sets of priorities. And that helps inform our teaching and our research. So it seems to me that community engagement is really a foundation for everything we do at the university. As is clear from Place and Promise, when we consulted across the university in creating the plan, there was a lot of discussion about community engagement as being a central pillar of our ambitions. I think that UBC has to be understood as part of a tradition of what are sometimes called land-grant universities. We often think of them as American universities, but actually UBC was created with a grant of land and with the ambition of serving the people of British Columbia, and now, of course, the entire world. But the first president, Frank Westbrook, made a speech in which he said something that I've always liked, and that was that he wanted UBC to be a provincial university without provincialism. And I think that's quite fundamental for a notion of community engagement, because the local about community is matched with the global in community. And we're constantly trying, I think, as a university to balance out our real local engagements with our aspirations to be influential in the world at large. Are we perfect? Not at all. Have we made some mistakes over the years in the way we've engaged with communities? Of course we have, but I think we're learning from that. And I think one of the struggles is to really listen deeply. And universities often have trouble listening as opposed to telling people what we think. So I think that we're doing very well. There are ambitious plans across the whole university in education, in law, in medicine. The Peter Wall Institute has a solutions initiative that is all about engaging UBC with research with communities. So I think there are great strides being made. Can we do more? Of course. We know that working with communities takes time, and I think one of the challenges that we often face is the way we evaluate research. There are traditional measures and metrics, obviously publications in top-tier journals, etc. But to actually develop a relationship with a community so that there's a level of trust often can take years, and we have to understand that, I think, as we evaluate people for purposes of promotion and tenure, as we think about how our professors spend their time. For community engagement to be effective, I think we have to be a little bit more patient than we often are. And I know, for example, that there's a working group that Vice President John Hepburn has struck to look at community-based research for exactly these reasons. So that's one challenge. Another challenge is what I alluded to earlier, listening. We at universities are very good in, I think, developing ideas and then trying to broadcast them, telling people what they should do. How can we make our society better? We're not always quite so good at listening to the communities themselves and really responding to their desires and aspirations. And so I think that is a challenge for all of us within the university. And I think what that really speaks to is modesty. Understanding that we don't have all the answers, we don't even have all the right questions. And so listening and explicitly trying to cultivate the virtue of modesty is, I think, something that's really important for us. I think successful community engagement has to be a true process of interaction. To start with, it cannot be people parachuting into a community, doing a quick study, and then telling people how they should live their lives. And that's complicated because it means actually embedding oneself in the community over time, listening, being an active listener, not just allowing the largest voices or the most prominent people within the community to have all of the say, but trying to figure out processes by which a broad cross-section of community members can be engaged with us. So it's that notion of interaction and active listening that I think characterizes good community-based research. And then, of course, it also requires that we share that. That is important. At the university, it's not enough just to experience the joy of being in the community and helping to understand the community a little bit better. We do have an obligation to share what we've learned. So some of the traditional methods of sharing through journal articles and books, etc., are still relevant, but so too are newer methods of sharing what we've learned through interactive media, etc. So I think those are really, for me, the three indicators: interaction, active listening, and effective communication.